1. Fleetwood Mac, my roommate's dead. Fungus fermentation. Another Wonka reboot, JFK's assassination.
It's not my favorite topic, just my brain's current fixation.
Hyperfocus.
Hyperfocus, a neurodivergent podcast. Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Dickens here with Hyperfocus, a neurodivergent podcast, and I am joined by comedian and writer Carrie Ross today. Hey, Carrie.
Hey.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to chat with you about your hyperfocus, which is alternative medicine, and then later my hyperfocus on dog shows and specifically like dog show judges.
Oh.
But before we dive into that, I'd like to start off the show with chatting about you with what your experience has been like being neurodivergent.
Yeah, so been kind of, odd, but the biggest thing is that growing up I had maybe a little more trouble like expressing myself or communicating. Something that would always happen is when I would have a conversation with other people, I would sort of right out the gate assume that they would have trouble understanding what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I would sort of explain what I was trying to say in a way without like realizing I'd gotten 1,000 miles away from the initial point that I was trying to make. Because this would happen with my mom growing up. And then she'd go, wait a minute, so what does this have to do with what you said about Venus or Uranus or something? And I go, okay, well, wait a minute. So that's one thing. So the other thing would be like sort of like executive function things where I would get, well, I'm better at it now, but I used to get really stressed out, like shopping for groceries and stuff.
Is there anything that like has helped you so that you are like better at it now, or is it just any tools or I don't know?
Yeah, there's some just sort of grounding exercises. That's like DBT therapy. If you know what that is, it's like. But also, I'm married now, so that's helped too. Yeah, my wife's great.
But do you want to get started on your topic?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah. So this guy Bryan Johnson spends $2 million a year trying. This is what he said. He said trying to live forever, but that's not really a thing. So
yeah, Bryan Johnson. He's like a tech millionaire. I don't think he's a billionaire, right? He's like a millionaire. Is now, his whole thing is just trying to. He made the news mostly for wasn't he like injecting himself with his son's blood?
Right. Yeah. Which I'm not sure that has been proven to do anything.
Did you watch the documentary about him on Netflix?
I did. I just noticed that like it seems like all he's successfully done is made his face look shinier, which I don't know. It's like a Botox thing.
Well, because he made all of his money. He had that company like Braintree that bought Venmo. He sold his company to PayPal for like a ton of money. So like that's how he's so rich and has all this time and resources to dedicate to this like project almost, or
Project Blueprint or something.
Is that what he calls it?
Yeah, and then he also, one of the medications he takes is one that I take.
Oh, really?
It's for diabetes. It's called metformin, and he says he takes 2,000 milligrams of it. I take 500 milligrams of it. It was originally developed for people with type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. I have type 1 diabetes, but I still take it. But I don't. As far as I know, he doesn't have diabetes.
I just remember like holistically, because his whole thing was like I'm doing this for science, and then scientists were like, none of this is helpful.
Yeah, it's
because he's doing too many different things to his body that you can't like accurately measure the effects of any one thing he's doing.
Right, he has like a diet, but it's not that.
It's like green juices.
Yeah, green
it's
juices,
superfoods
that everybody else talks about, and that he doesn't drink. Sure, that can help. I don't remember if he also takes, because there's this drug naltrexone, which they'll sometimes prescribe to people who have like issues with substance abuse.
How did you like get into what sparked your curiosity about this guy?
Well, because people have been doing this for a while. Not just specific to the Silicon Valley dudes. But yeah, I remember just like reading like a while ago, people were talking about the Natalie Portman diet from Black Swan, saying like, well, the way that you can follow the Natalie Portman diet from Black Swan is being as wealthy as Natalie Portman and having as much free time as Natalie Portman had. But and then there are also, I remember seeing facial yoga, and then this thing called Jazzercise, where I actually bought one. I didn't bring it with me.
A Jazzercise?
Jazzercise. It's like a thing, like a chewy thing that you put into your jaw. This is what it said it did, but I didn't notice anything different, but it said that it would define your face. Like if it said like if you moved your jaw around or your tongue a bunch around in your mouth, then it would make you look younger somehow.
Like a chiseled jaw?
Yeah.
Like handsome Squidward or something?
Yeah, like handsome, yeah. Handsome Squidward, yeah.
Did you try it? Or like...
I tried it for a little bit, and I said, well, this is just sort of... because it just started to hurt after a while. Well, it must really be working if it's hurting. I mean, like, I've fallen for a few different, like, weight loss scam things.
It's hard not to, like, over the course of your life, I feel like everyone does at one point in time. Mm-hmm. There's so many.
Yeah, because there's this thing about people ordering what they think are tapeworms and pills off of the dark web, which sounds scary. I don't know. I wouldn't do that. I heard, like, one person getting, like, thought it wasn't actually a tapeworm, as some other kind of worm. It just made this person sick. The tapeworm probably makes people sick too, but
it does.
In the wrong way.
That's always a crazy thing that people are like, I want a tapeworm, because like you're not supposed to have them. No. I had a tapeworm once.
Oh, you did?
Oh no, sorry, I didn't have a tapeworm. I had a parasite, which is different. I think it's like all tapeworms are parasites, but not all parasites are tapeworms.
Oh.
Like a tapeworm's a type of parasite. Mm-hmm. I did not have a tapeworm, but I had a microscopic parasite.
Oh.
That I don't know how I got. And so I just took probiotics, and I think it went away. I'm not sure.
Oh,
but like it wasn't fun. I went to the doctor because I was like, something's wrong with me. Like to your point of the extremes that people will go to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I don't even know how effective that would even be.
Yeah, it like sucks all the like nutrients out of you too, I think. And then you just have like a bunch of diarrhea. Like it's not healthy.
Yeah. Right. But, then you're using way too much toilet paper.
Those weren't the ones that you fell for.
No,
Okay.
It wasn't that. Because there's actually, my mom used to take it. It was this thing called Ally.
Ally?
It was when I was in 7th grade, I think, where it was a diet pill with it. You can still find it on Amazon. Don't buy it though. It's not good for you. And it would basically just give you, explosive diarrhea for I don't know, a month. So I mean, I guess it worked in one way, but overall not a good plan.
It's also like mostly you're just like getting dehydrated.
Yeah,
so it's not.
Then I don't remember exactly why I was so obsessed with doing that. Yeah, maybe because I have a twin brother who's a lot taller and slimmer than I am. But yeah, it wasn't that I wanted to look exactly like him or anything. I just thought. Then I was diagnosed as having type 1 diabetes when I was like 12, and I was just starting 6th grade. And there wasn't any more birthday cake. This was my favorite thing growing up.
And that's such a like formative age also.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least like for me too, like that type of messaging, like really, like that's when I started to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Also like all the commercials and like magazines and like those things too, you're just like extra hyper aware of. I know this also ties in with like alternative medicine, which is kind of all these things, right? Weight loss gimmicks in a way feel like an alternative medicine, but like, is there any that like have really stood out to you?
Well, yeah, I just keep hearing people like thinking that, drinking your own urine has health benefit. But then when I would ask what the health benefits were, they would just say, well, people have been doing that for millennia. I was like, okay, but what, again, does a doctor have an office I can go to where he says that, I don't know if you've heard that, like people just say like, well, urine is stale. Like, no, it isn't. That doesn't make any sense because it's human waste.
Yeah, I've never heard the health benefits of that, but I do know it's a thing people have done. It could become super popular if it was marketed as something beneficial.
When I was asking about it, somebody said, well, Gandhi used to do that. And I said, well, did you FaceTime Gandhi from beyond the grave and ask what the benefits were? Because cool.
Did anyone else do it famous that you know of?
I guess, but there's just a bunch of weird like people on TikTok and YouTube.
It's such a fine line of like interesting, maybe more like holistic approaches to health, and then all of a sudden you cross it into stuff that's just like It's very dangerous.
Yeah,
Like,
there are a bunch of different therapies, like the foot. Have you seen those ads with the people putting their feet into like buckets of warm water, and then they're like, look at all the toxins.
I haven't seen those.
I've seen a bunch of those. But yeah, like, remember all those like juice cleanses, seeing all that stuff? Your liver and your kidneys do that too. So back to Bryan Johnson, I guess. So like, what if he didn't have a son who would
Donates his
plasma to him?
to his son.
Would he hire somebody else to do it?
Oh, that's interesting. The one thing I did kind of find like nice about that documentary, because like Bryan Johnson, he was Mormon too, I believe. Isn't he Mormon or ex-Mormon?
So, yeah.
He is divorced, and all of his children live with his wife, but his one son, I think, turned 18 and wanted to spend his senior year of high school with his dad. So that's why so it is like, even though what he's doing is like very extremely questionable, it was also like a nice like father-son bonding a bit. Like they would work out together, they'd drink their juices together, and then like his son would like give his dad his blood.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't know if he would take other people's blood. He probably
right,
would.
yeah.
I could see him doing that.
Right.
He did like successfully reverse his age a few years.
Right.
But he's again doing so many things that you can't really point to like one specific thing other than I think he's just trying to be like the pinnacle of health. The entire time I was watching it though, I kept being like, what if it would be kind of funny if he got like hit by a car the next day? Like it's like
all that work and poof. I wonder if it's part of like the point he's trying to make, like, because I've read about other people doing this, but what they've done is they've moved to a different country, like to Japan, or because I think the U.S. is number 55
of life expectancy.
We're
not up there. We're down. We are down.
Yeah. So at least he's sticking around here.
And it'll be interesting to see when he dies. Honestly, I'm curious to just know when he dies, or if he outlives us all. Because he could maybe. But he has the resources. So
to do.
But thank you for chatting about this with me.
Yeah.
That guy is crazy. I love talking about him. We're gonna shift gears to dog shows.
Cool.
Have you ever been to one?
I haven't been to one, but I've watched
on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I love watching them on TV. I'm like a big fan of Westminster dog show, or like I've been going to it in person for the past maybe like 7 or 8 years. I go every year, and I went this past week, and so I've been like very focused on dogs lately. And it's like a mix of two things that like I can't get over, I guess, is like, one is that like they never pick the dogs I like. So I get like annoyed by that. And then also like, so I went Monday night for the first round of judging, which is the hound group, toy group, non-sporting, and herding. And then the second night is working, sporting, terrier, and best in show. So I went the first night and watched the second night best in show at home, and the commentators were saying that it takes more years to become a judge at a dog show than to become a doctor.
Really? Whoa.
And so I had to like look up what that process was, because I was like, that's crazy. And even then, like, because they have a different judge for like all of the different breeds, and then a separate judge to come in and judge best in show. And that judge is sequestered away until it's like her time. And she comes out for literally 5 minutes and picks a dog, and then it's over. And I'm like, you're sequestered? You're not even like, that's so intense. So I was like looking into the stats of like what it takes to become a judge, which I wrote down. It's a lot. And like, so this is just to become a dog judge of like one breed. So like you're just like a judge of dachshunds. So you need to be like a breeder for a minimum of 12 years and have bred and raised at least 5 litters in your own home, and have bred or owned 4 or more champions from those litters. You have to pass a test, like a dog anatomy test, and then a ring procedure, which the article I was reading was like, we'll explain more on ring procedures later, and then they didn't explain more, but my guess would be it's about like the actual showmanship of it. You have to have been a ring steward in at least 6 shows, which is like a judge's assistant. And then you have to have judged the breed at 6 like sweepstakes or shows or matches or something. That's all kind of to be a judge of one breed. If you are a dog magazine publisher or a professional handler, you cannot be a judge. But if you're like a retired handler or an amateur handler, you need like 15 years experience. Or if you have a stud owner, you can also apply to be a judge.
Oh, do you also have to be a doctor?
I know, right? Oh, that would be so interesting. I don't think so. Like, you probably don't have to be a vet, but I would assume these people would know if something's like wrong with the dogs, but they are like judging them based on just like perfectionism according to the breed. So I guess I kind of knew this, but like to see it, and I had confirmed it that like you have to have 2 testicles. Like if you're a dog, like you can't be neutered, like your teeth can't be fucked up, like to place in these dog shows. Or like if you are neutered, you can compete in like obedience or like agility and stuff probably, which like I love agility. I've been to agility a couple times, but like that's the competition for like the ugly dogs. Do you know what I mean? Those are the dogs that like aren't going to be show dogs, but they're like smarter because they're doing agility. When I say ugly in a subjective way, I don't think they're ugly. So that's just like for one breed, to be an expert on that. But then if you want to like be the best in show of like all of it, you need to do separate training. You need to accumulate continuing education units on a given breed and earn credits at seminars and events, have a mentor, and then take courses at the American Kennel Club College, which I didn't know existed. I like that it does. It's kind of like taking like your driver's test in a way of like, I don't know, like other people are judging until you can become a judge, like that sort of a thing. And then I was like reading this other article from the New York Times on like the people who had been doing the judging, but like ultimately, because they treat it kind of like a sport, like they're like, I have to be in my best like physical shape to like judge these dogs. Ultimately it comes down to preference.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm sitting here thinking, maybe I'm just missing something in the dogs that they're picking. Well, that's the thing. I have my own preferences too. I just think my preferences are better than the dog judging preferences. This was interesting because this year, the winner of the toy group is a Shih Tzu named Comet, which is fine. Like, I don't care for Shih Tzus that much, but I also don't really care for the toy group that much, except for the Pekingese. Those like the giant fluffy ones that walk so slow. Because for me, like the toy group is just like, they're not like real. I'm not anti all little like white dogs, but I have to meet it personally to like respect it, I think. so like a Shih Tzu, Comet winning, whatever. But Comet won the toy group last year, presumably different judges. So I'm like, okay, maybe there is something that like makes Comet special. And then the same with the herding group, a German Shepherd named Mercedes. And I love German Shepherds, so I wasn't mad about that. Even though this year there was a really cute Old English sheepdog. But Mercedes, the German Shepherd, came in first for herding. Mercedes also won the herding group last year too. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's really something special about this German Shepherd Mercedes. And then the working group, the same dog won working that won the past 2 years, the giant schnauzer named Monty. And I'm like, well, now there must be something extra special about Monty if like different judges each year keep picking the giant schnauzer. And like, I don't love schnauzers either. So I was kind of hoping that Monty would win to like get out of the competition so that next year a dog that I like in the working group can win, because that's my favorite group. Monty won Best in Show this year. And like objectively, I can understand why the giant schnauzer won. Like, it's a nice looking dog, but like also the fact that the judges all have their own preferences and they admit to it. Like they're like, yeah, I have my favorite dogs. And then also like it just depends on the day too of like how the dog shows. Obviously, like it's like an athlete. You can have like your on days or your off days. Right. I was like, is there really a best in show? I'm like, Monty was the best in show that day. I was like, but I don't know, like maybe a different dog would have won like a different day. Well, then also it was interesting because I was reading that like if it is a judge judging multiple breeds, they're less likely to pick the breed that they're the most comfortable with because they're more particular about it. Like they're judging it more harshly because they're more familiar with the breed. So like in a way, it's like maybe they don't have as much of an advantage.
Are the labs in the working Labrador?
They're in sporting.
Sporting, yeah. Because I had 2 labs growing up. Betsy, who was a yellow lab, and Hannah, who was a chocolate lab. But Betsy had a pink nose. I think they called it a Dudley nose. Meaning that she wouldn't have qualified. But yeah, I think my dog Hannah, not when we owned her, but I think she was a show dog when other people had her.
I love labs. I mean, that's also like a big fan favorite. Like it's so fun to go at MSG because like the crowd gets like so behind their dogs. But I did read an interview, like the judge was like, the audience like doesn't know what they're talking about. And I'm like, okay, whatever. The golden retriever this year too, obviously a fan favorite, but was like so beautiful. And a golden retriever has never won Best in Show.
Really?
I have a list of the dogs that have never won Best in Show. So the dogs that have not won Best in Show are the Labrador Retriever, the golden retriever, the Shih Tzu, the miniature schnauzer, but the giant one just won, a Chihuahua, which also surprises me, a Great Dane, which upsets me because I'm obsessed with Great Danes, and a Shetland sheepdog. There might be more, but that was just the list I found. And then the dogs that win the most, the Wire Fox Terrier has won the most Best in Show titles with 15, which they're fine, I don't know. Followed by the Scottish Terrier with 8. Which I think those are cute. And then the English Springer Spaniel with 6. So like the Terriers have won more than 40% of the Best in Show titles with 46 wins in total, which is nuts. I was like joking with my friends because I was like talking about like the dogs I like, the dogs I don't like. I think I prefer dogs with jobs.
Dogs.
I was talking to my friend. I was like, the Terriers, whatever. And my friend was like, Terriers have jobs too. They do. They're supposed to like sniff out rodents and stuff. So I like Terriers now because they have something to do. My other friend described it as like blue collar dogs.
The blue collar dog. I like dogs with pointy ears, and then others with ears, the floppy
droopy ears.
Yeah, the droopy ears.
But not like the in between.
No, definitely the in between.
Oh, like all ears.
All ears, all kinds of ears. If they have ears, even if they don't have ears.
Thank you so much for chatting with me about
Thanks for having me.
The dogs, and also about Bryan Johnson and alt medicine, all things I enjoy talking about. Carrie Ross is a New York City-based comedian, and you can follow her at Chargoond on social media, which is linked in the show notes. Also, she hosts an open mic called Feelings Anonymous at Easy Lover the first and third Saturdays of the month. You can also follow the show at Hyperfocus Comedy on Instagram for updates on episodes and live shows. And there's also a Patreon if you would like to support the podcast, linked in the show notes. I'm Virginia Dickens, and this has been Hyperfocus, a neurodivergent podcast.